Alright, Battle Chapter 48 on Judgment on Moab, which is, of course, part of Jordan today. Concerning Moab, thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, who is, of course, Christ. Woe to Nebo, for it is laid waste. Kirathim is put to shame, it is taken. The fortress is put to shame and broken down. The renown of Moab is no more. In Heshbon they plan disaster against her. Come, let us cut her off from being a nation. You also, O madmen, shall be brought to silence. The sword shall pursue you. A voice, a cry from Horathim, desolation and great destruction. Moab is destroyed, her little ones have made a cry. For at the accent of Luhith they go up weeping. For at the descent of Horonoth they have heard the distress cry of destruction. Flee, save yourselves. You will be like a juniper in the desert. For because you trusted in your works and your treasures, you also shall be taken. And Chemosh shall go into exile, with his priests and his officials. The false god of Moab, which really Satan, pretty much. I mean, that's who they worship. Him and the demons. It says, and Chemosh, which is pretty much Satan, shall go into exile with his priest, or satanic priest, and of course, his satanic officials. So, in a way, it's like, God has, defeated Satan here. Also, of course, see it many times in the Old Testament where God, defeated Satan over and over again, but especially on the cross through Christ. But it's like what it's saying here is, it's like, God has put in exile Chemosh, who's really Satan. He has put him into exile, along with his priests and his officials, and sent them to Babylon. So think about it. God actually put Satan and his satanic priests and officials in exile. So, verse 8, the destroyer shall come upon every city, which is Babylon, and no city shall escape. The valley shall perish, and the plain shall be destroyed, as the Lord has spoken. So whatever God ordains, whatever He says, whether good, or whatever happens, whether good or bad, has been ordained by God for a reason. Give wings to Moab, for she would fly away. Her cities shall become a desolation, with no inhabitant in them. Cursed is he who does the work of the Lord with slackness or laziness, and cursed is he who keeps back his sword from bloodshed. Read that again, verse 10. Cursed is he who does the work of the Lord with slackness or laziness, and cursed is he who keeps back his sword from bloodshed. God's saying here about the judgment of Moab. He's saying, cursed be the person that goes against God's word. Whenever God tells these people to go out and kill the people of Moab, he's talking about the Babylonians. He's telling them to take over Moab, kill them all. And God says, but if you refuse to kill them all, then I will curse you. So there you go. So yeah, God orders people to kill people. I mean, that's why he did it in the Old Testament. God ordered that. Here He ordered the Babylonians to destroy the people of Moab. And that's God. If He orders you to destroy evil, you get to do it. Moving on, it says, Moab has been at ease from his youth, and has settled on his dregs. He has not been emptied from vessel to vessel, nor has he gone into exile, so his taste remains in him, and his scent is not changed. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I shall send to him pourers who will pour him, and empty his vessels, and break his jars in pieces. Then Moab shall be ashamed of Chemosh, or Satan, because there they see that their false god, who's really Satan and his demons, can't protect them from the wrath of God. Like God has ordained, Satan can't stand in the way of God. Because what God's going to do, He does. Satan can't stop him. Not even the demons can stop God. God's going to do what He wants to do. Not even the devil himself can stop God. And that's what God's talking about here. It says Moab shall be ashamed of Chemosh or Satan, as the house of Israel was ashamed of Bethel, their confidence. How do you say we are heroes and mighty men of war? The destroyer of Moab and his cities has come up, says Babylon, and the choicest of his young men have gone down to slaughter, declares the King, who is Christ, whose name is Lord of hosts. The calamity of Moab is near at hand, and his affliction hastens or hurries swiftly. Grieve for him, all you who are around him, and all who know his name. Say, how the mighty scepter is broken, the glorious staff. Come down from your glory, and sit on the parched ground, O inhabitant of Dibon, for the destroyer of Moab has come up against you. He has destroyed your stronghold. Stand by the way and watch, O inhabitants of Aroer. Ask him who flees and her who escapes. Say, what has happened? Moab is put to shame, for it is broken. Wail and cry. Tell it beside the Arnon that Moab is laid waste. Judgment has come upon the tableland, upon Holon, and Jahaz, and Mepham, and Dibon, and Nebo, and Beth Dilbalom, and Kirathon, and Beth Gamel, and Beth Meam, and Kirith, and Basra, and all the cities of the land of Moab, far and near. The horn of Moab is cut off, and his arm is broken, declares the Lord. Make him drunk, because he magnified himself against the Lord, so that Moab shall wallow in his vomits. So what God's saying here is, Moab, since you have come against him, since you have come against God, God is going to destroy you. He's going to erase you off the face of the earth. He's going to absolutely just destroy you. He's going to kill all the people of Moab, and because Moab has come against God, and because it's so prideful that coming against God, God's going to destroy them. He's going to cut them off. He's going to make them drunk, so that they wallow in their own vomit and their own blood. God's going to destroy these people. That's what he's saying. That's what he's talking about. He's sending Babylon and to Moab, to Jordan today, to destroy these people, to kill them all pretty much, and to where there's so much bloodshed that Moab is like wallowing in their own blood. So, and it says, and he too shall be held in derision. Was not Israel a derision to you? Was he found among thieves, that whenever you spoke of him, you wagged your head? Leave the seas and dwell in the rock, O inhabitants of Moab. Be like the dove that nests in the sides of the mouth of a gorge. We have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud, of his loftiness, his pride, and his arrogance, and the hardness of his heart. I know the insolence, declares the Lord. His boasts are false, his deeds are false. Therefore I will wail for Moab. I cry out for all Moab. For the men of Kirathim I mourn. More than for Jazer I weep for you. O vine Sibmah, your branches pass over the sea, reach the sea of Jazer. On your summer fruits and your grapes the destroyer has fallen. Gladness and joy have been taken away from the fruitful land of Moab. I have made the wine cease from the wine presses. No one treads them with shouts of joy. The shouting is not the shout of joy. From the outcry of Heshbon even to Elah, as far as Jahaz, they uttered their voice. From Zor to Hornum and Eglath Shelazah, for the waters of Nimrim also have become desolate. And I will bring to an end in Moab, declares the Lord, him who offers sacrifices in the high place and makes offerings to his god, which is Chemosh or Satan. Therefore my heart moans for Moab like a flute, and my heart moans like a flute for the men of Hazor. Therefore the riches they gain have perished. For every head is shaved and every beard cut off. On all the hands are gashes, and round the waist is sackcloth. On all the housetops of Moab and in the squares there is nothing but lamentation or crying. For I have broken Moab like a vessel for which no one cares, declares the Lord. How it is broken, how they wail, how Moab has turned his back in shame. So Moab has become a derision and a horror to all that are around him. For thus saith the Lord, behold, one shall fly swiftly like an eagle, and spread his wings against Moab. The city shall be taken, and the stronghold is seized. The heart of the warriors of Moab shall be in that day, of the heart of a woman and her birth pains. Moab shall be destroyed and be no longer a people, because he magnified himself against the Lord. Terror, pit, and snare are before you, O inhabitants of Moab, declares the Lord. He who flees from the terror shall fall into the pit, and he who climbs out of the pit shall be caught in the snare. So God's saying that if you try to run away from him, no matter what, you're going to die pretty much. So that's why it's telling to the people of Moab. That once God has ordained you for death, there's no way escaping it. You're going to die. So that's why I want to repent of your sins and live your life for God every single day. It says, he who flees from the terror shall fall into the pit, and he who climbs out of the pit shall be caught in the snare. For I will bring things upon Moab, the year of their punishment, declares the Lord. In the shadow of Heshbon, fugitives stopped without strength, for fire came out from Heshbon, flame from the house of Sihon. It has destroyed the forehead of Moab, the crown of the sons of tumult. Woe to you, O Moab! The people of Chemosh or Satan are undone, for your sons have been taken captive, and your daughters into captivity. Yet I will restore the fortunes of Moab in the latter days, declares the Lord. Thus far is the judgment of Moab. So God has utterly destroyed this nation, because this nation has come against him, has come against Israel. So God sent Babylon into Moab and destroyed them all. So there you go. That's why you never come against God, because if you do, you will face the wrath of God horribly, and I mean horribly. So that's 48, and I'll be back with 49 here shortly.